Discover how one homeless girl's incredible act transformed a billionaire's life forever. Lily, just 14, darted through the bustling city streets, her heart pounding with the rhythm of the chaos around her. The cold wind nipped at her cheeks, but nothing could dim her fierce spirit. She knew struggle like the back of her hand. This city had shown her kindness in patches, but also relentless pain. That evening was like any other. Her friends would gather at the shelter, exchanging dreams of warm beds and a future bright with hope. But tonight felt different. As she maneuvered through the crowd, a figure caught her eye. A man, dressed in tattered clothes that clung to his frail body, lay sprawled on the sidewalk. Instinct kicked in. Adrenaline surged through her veins as she rushed to his side. "Sir! Can you hear me?" she shouted, kneeling beside him. He was a veteran, his weathered face telling stories of battles fought and friends lost. Her chest tightened, a wave of compassion flooding over her as she reached for his wrist, checking for a pulse. It was weak. A crowd began to gather, murmurs rippling through the air. "Someone call for help!" she yelled, her voice steady despite the flutter of fear in her stomach. In that moment, as she held his hand, she could feel the warmth of humanity pushing against the chill of indifference that filled her world. Behind her, Robert watched, an affluent businessman standing at a crossroads in his life. The sight of this homeless girl, so selflessly devoted, struck him like a lightning bolt. What was he doing with his life? Staring at the man's unconscious form, he felt small amidst the grandeur of his wealth. The emptiness of his bank account was overshadowed by the fullness of Lily's heart. Would he ever find that kind of connection, the type that mattered? As the paramedics arrived, the crowd's attention shifted, but Lily remained by the veteran's side, refusing to let go. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, and Robert found himself drawn to the shelter where he often saw Lily. Despite the whispers of disapproval from his privileged circle, he felt compelled to know her story. They began to share time, and he learned of her dreams. One day, she wanted to help other kids like her. As their friendship grew, skepticism from Robert's peers deepened. "She's just a distraction," they scoffed, but he couldn't shake the warmth she ignited in him. But just as their unlikely bond took root, a scandal erupted. The media had caught wind of their connection. Tensions flared at a charity gala designed to showcase Robert's latest humanitarian efforts. In a moment of vulnerability, facing the elite and the cameras flashing around them, Lily stood. Her heart raced, but she spoke with unyielding clarity. "True wealth isn't measured by money," she declared, her voice slicing through the tension. "It's in kindness, genuine connection, something we all need." The crowd hushed, eyes wide as hers bore into Robert's. Would this moment change everything for him? Would he finally see beyond the glitter of worldliness to the heart of what truly mattered? As they locked eyes, the air thickened with anticipation, leaving their fate hanging in the balance. Would he choose the path she illuminated or retreat back to the shadows of his privileged life? The tension crackled in the air like static electricity as the silence echoed around the lavish ballroom. Robert stood frozen, grappling with a truth that was unfurling before him like a tapestry woven with hope and sincerity. Lily's words hung in the air, a challenge and a plea, tugging at the fragments of his heart that had been buried beneath layers of wealth and ambition. That he took a breath, feeling the weight of the gazes upon him, some curious, others judgmental. The crowd was alive with whispers, their rich lives clashing with the raw authenticity of a girl who had seen it all. They had their champagne and slights and ambitions, but she stood there in her patchwork clothes, representing something completely different. It was a stark contrast that made Robert's throat tighten. "Robert?" Lily's eyes searched his, reflecting innocence and fierce determination. It took everything in him not to look away. Would he finally embrace that connection they had forged amidst the chaos of the streets? Would he step into the light she shone, casting aside the shadows of his upbringing? Just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket, a reminder of board meetings, business deals, and expectations he had been dutifully enslaved to. A hand slammed on his shoulder, yanking him back to reality. "Come on, man. You really going to listen to her?" His friend Dave sneered, an indulgent smirk plastered on his face. "She's just a kid looking for attention. This isn't the time or the place." Something in Robert snapped. It wasn't the first time he had felt trapped by the invisible chains that came with his wealth, but it was the first time he could see them clearly. He shook off Dave's hand, his heart pounding fiercely in his chest. No, this is exactly the time and place," he declared, his voice steady despite everything. The subtle gasps intensified as he took a step forward, inching toward Lily. "She's right. We can't measure worth by dollars and cents." His chest felt lighter with each word. The truth was liberating. Lily has shown us what it means to truly care. She's the brave one. The murmurs shifted from shock to intrigue, the audience hanging on his every word. "People are out there suffering," he continued, his voice growing stronger. "And I've been living in my own bubble. I've been ignoring those who need help while pretending that my money could fix anything." The weight of his realizations crashed down on him like a wave, and every eye in the room turned to Lily. Her face lit up with a mix of pride and disbelief, but Robert couldn't shake the sorrow for all the times he had turned a blind eye. In that moment, he decided what he truly wanted. He didn't want wealth, he wanted impact. He wanted to help people, to bring about real change. The idea that had once seemed so distant whispered in the corners of his mind, pulling him in like a force he couldn't escape. "From now on, I want to invest in helping communities, in supporting efforts to get people off the streets. Not just donations, but real partnerships creating pathways for the future," he declared, steeling himself against the murmurs rising in response. As applause erupted from the crowd, he felt a rush of adrenaline and clarity. But in the midst of cheering faces, a sudden thought struck him: could he truly handle the responsibility ahead? Was he ready to embrace this new path, especially if it meant risking everything he had known? As the evening continued with hopeful applause, the road before him stretched endlessly, twisting with possibilities. He turned to Lily, who was still glowing. A question lingered in the air between them, unasked but palpable: could he really change his life, and would she be by his side through it all? With the future looming, one question remained: would this be the beginning of a new journey for both of them, or would the challenges be too great to overcome? Robert stepped away from the podium, his heart still racing. The applause faded into a distant hum, and he found himself standing in a cocoon of thoughts, a whirlwind of uncertainty clashing with newfound determination. All around him, people streamed out of the ballroom, their cocktail chatter and the clinking of glasses a stark contrast to the quiet turmoil inside him. Lily remained near the stage, radiating a light that drew him close. The room buzzed, but in that moment, it was like they were the only two people in the world. He could see it in her eyes, the hope sparking like fresh flames, flickering before the shadows of doubt. "Did you mean it?" she asked softly, her voice barely above the noise around them. It sliced through his uncertainty, anchoring him in the present. "Every word," he replied, searching for the right tone, wondering if he had the courage to match the weight of his declaration. "I want to change things, Lily. I want to make a real impact." But... She prodded, her brow furrowing slightly as she stepped closer, her face earnest and open. "What if I can't do it?" He let the fear spill out, surprising himself. "What if I'm just playing at this? I've led a life of privilege. I don't know how to connect with those communities. What if my efforts are just meaningless?" Lily reached for his hand, her grip warm and reassuring. "You're not alone in this. You have the resources to make change. It's not about knowing everything, it's about being willing to learn, about listening." Her words spiraled into a surreal mix of encouragement and fear. He nodded, but the weight of his past felt heavy, I've been shielded from so much. I'm scared I'll mess this up. Everyone messes up. That's how we learn. But you're not just some rich guy throwing cash at a problem. You want to build something. That's different. She stepped back, her gaze firm. If you really want this, you'll find a way. You'll surround yourself with the right people. People like you. He asked, a tentative smile creeping to his face. Exactly, she winked, the lightness of her tone easing the tension. I'm here to help. You just have to mean it when you say you want to change. He inhaled deeply, feeling a sense of urgency swell in his chest. The applause faded completely now, replaced by a profound silence as they stood together amidst the remnants of the evening. Okay, he said, determination buoying his spirit. If I'm going to do this, I need to start right away. I want to find people who are making a difference. Build that network. It starts with working directly with the community, right? Right. Lily beamed, the joy in her eyes reflecting the shift within him. But as they discussed plans, a shadow swept over Robert's exhilaration. He thought of Dave, the harsh reality that came from his old life. What would he say? He'd never let Robert forget when he'd faltered when he stepped too close to those who were less fortunate. Are you ready for that kind of backlash? Lily asked. Because it will come. People don't like it when the narrative changes. He hesitated, the heat of uncertainty returning. Facing the board, the friends who had written off compassion as a weakness, would be a challenge he could easily sidestep. Yet, the truth clawed at him. He wanted to break free from their expectations and redefine who he was. I think I have to be, he murmured, more to himself than to her. I can't keep letting fear hold me back, but what if he was wrong? What if the very people he sought to help met him with distrust? With those doubts swirling in his mind, Robert turned to look at the ballroom doors. A vast world lay just beyond, full of possibilities, challenges, and unanswered questions. He was standing at the edge of a personal revolution, one that could ultimately change everything. Looking back at Lily, he felt something shift deep inside him, a mixture of hope and hesitation. Was he ready to take the plunge into that unknown? Or would he turn back? As the night wound down, a new question emerged: would he resist the pull of his old life, or embrace the uncertain journey that fate had set before him? The next morning, sunlight streamed through the cracks in Robert's curtains, illuminating the room in warm hues of gold and amber. He could hear the distant sounds of the city awakening, car horns blaring, people chatting, the rhythmic thumping of a construction site nearby. But as much as he wanted to get lost in the comforting noise, the echoes of last night loomed larger in his mind. Lily's words echoed in his ears, igniting a determination he hadn't felt in years. He swung his legs over the side of the bed and sat for a moment, staring at his reflection in the mirror. The man staring back at him was familiar, yet strangely foreign. Robert wanted to acknowledge what was at stake, to embrace this burgeoning version of himself who craved connection, purpose, and a little part of him the thrill of risk. After a quick shower, he dressed in casual clothes, a far cry from the tailored suits he usually wore to board meetings. Something about the jeans and a simple shirt made him feel more like himself, more genuine. He grabbed his phone, scrolled through contacts, and hesitated over the name of his old friend, a local charity leader he hadn't spoken to in ages. He had a choice to make: he could disappear into the comfort of his old life or reach out and begin the journey to the unknown. Sighing, Robert pressed the call button. Hey, Sam. It's Robert, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. I'd love to catch up. Maybe over coffee? Sure. What's the occasion? Sam replied, surprise lacing his tone. Just want to talk about some ideas I've been having, Robert said, hoping he wouldn't have to go into details just yet, not wanting to reveal how uncertain he really felt. When they settled at a quaint coffee shop a few hours later, Robert found himself spilling out his heart without even thinking. I want to get involved with the community, he explained, stirring his coffee absently. I'm not even sure how to start. Sam raised an eyebrow, leaning in with genuine interest. That's great. Change begins with intention. Are you focusing on a specific cause? The question hung in the air. Robert hadn't fully thought that through. All he knew was that he wanted to help. I haven't nailed down the specifics yet, but I want to work directly with people who are struggling, maybe even connect with small organizations making a difference. Man, that's ambitious, but do you want the truth? Sam asked, his expression suddenly serious. Always, Robert replied, bracing for what was coming. The communities you want to help. They've got some serious mistrust of folks like us. You're stepping into a tough arena, and if you're not prepared, the backlash could be overwhelming. Robert swallowed hard, the weight of Sam's words sinking in. I get that. But I can't ignore this feeling. I need to make it right. His phone buzzed beside him, and he glanced down. It was a message from Lily, thinking of you today. Remember, take it one step at a time. Her words sparked something within him, a flicker of hope in the face of uncertainty. But the doubts were there, swirling like a storm. Would the people he'd meet be willing to trust him? What if they rejected him because of who he was? Don't let fear hold you back, Sam said, almost as if reading his thoughts. Take that leap. Start small, build relationships, and listen. They'll let you in if they believe your heart is in it. Robert nodded, feeling the walls of his comfort zone tightening around him. What if this leap led him right into the arms of a challenge he wasn't ready to face? But then again, what if it opened doors to connections he never imagined? As they wrapped up their meeting, Robert felt a surge of excitement coursing through his veins. This was just the beginning. If he was truly committed, he would have to let go of his fears and step into the unknown. Leaving the cafe, he looked around at the bustling streets, people moving with purpose, but so many still struggling unseen. He took a deep breath. This was the world he wanted to be a part of, and as he walked away, one question pulsed in his mind: could he really make a difference, or would he find himself pushed away by those he wanted to help the most? The answer awaited him, but it would take courage to uncover it. The next day, Robert woke to a quickening pulse of anticipation. His heart seemed to drum a rallying call as he laced up his sneakers, ready to step into the world he'd only dreamed of joining. No more hesitating. Today was the day he would visit a few community centers, get a feel for the landscape, and hopefully connect with those who needed help most. With each step towards the bus stop, he felt lighter. The air was fresh, filled with the scents of the city, the sounds of morning chatter blending with the rustle of discarded newspapers. He watched as people moved with purpose, and it struck him how many stories were intertwined within this vibrant tapestry. Everyone had their own battles, their own dreams. When he arrived at his first stop, a small community center nestled between two rundown buildings, he took a moment to observe. It was humble, painted in cheerful colors but showing signs of wear. Children played in the yard, chasing each other, laughter spilling out like sunlight. The place teemed with energy. As he entered, a volunteer with a welcoming smile approached him. Welcome. What brings you here today? I'm Robert, he said, shaking her hand. I'd like to learn about how I can help. The woman's face brightened. That's wonderful. We're always looking for extra hands. We serve meals, run after-school programs, and support families in need. Robert felt a surge of excitement. I want to get involved with the meal program and maybe help organize some events. Perfect. We really need you, she said, eyes sparkling. I'll introduce you to Lisa, our program manager. You both can come up with a plan. As they chatted, he felt the weight of his past life fading. With every idea he shared, he could see her nodding along, her enthusiasm contagious. Suddenly, he was no longer just Robert, he was becoming part of something larger. After a couple of hours, he left the center with a small stack of flyers reminding him of upcoming events. He could hardly contain his excitement. This was the beginning of his bridge. He could feel it forming beneath him, stronger and steadier with each step. As he continued to explore, he wandered toward a nearby park where he saw figures huddled beneath trees, talking quietly. Curiosity piqued, Robert approached. There, he met several individuals who welcomed him with guarded expressions. Among them was a girl who couldn't have been more than 10, sitting on the grass with dirt smudged across her cheeks. She held a worn-out book, its pages frayed. His heart twisted. "What are you reading?" She looked up, a hint of surprise in her eyes. "It's about adventures," she replied, her voice small yet bright. "Do you like adventures?" "I do," he said, kneeling to meet her gaze. "I'm starting one of my own today." "What kind?" Her eyes sparkled with genuine interest. "I want to help people, like you," he answered honestly, wanting to get it right. "Do you think that's a good adventure?" The girl shrugged, but a small smile crept onto her face. "Sometimes, helping is the best adventure." Their conversation wrapped around them like a warm embrace. As Robert shared his plans, he caught glimpses of guarded hope flickering in her eyes. He wanted to believe they were both embarking on a journey that could change everything, but just as optimism bloomed, a voice pierced through the warmth. "What do you want from us?" One of the older men from the group approached, arms crossed tightly over his chest. His expression was fierce, a wall of defiance. Robert's heart skipped a beat. The moment felt critical, charged with uncertainty. Could he convince them that he was different? That he genuinely wanted to help? Finding the courage to push against his growing doubts, he replied, "I'm not here to take anything. Just to listen and learn. I want to earn your trust if you'll let me." The atmosphere shifted, a delicate balance hanging in the air. Would they let him in, or was this the moment he faced the rejection he feared? As he waited for their response, Robert's heart raced with the thrill of facing what lay ahead, wondering if he could truly be the person he longed to become. The silence stretched, thick and tense. Robert could feel the weight of eyes on him, the older man's gaze, piercing and demanding. It felt like a challenge. "Why should we trust you?" the man asked, his voice low and rough, like gravel underfoot. Robert took a deep breath, searching for the right words. This wasn't about him anymore, it was about the people in front of him, the lives they led. "Because I know what it's like to want more for yourself. I've been lost too. I'm not here to judge, just to help if you'll let me." The girl's eyes widened, as if his honesty broke through a wall of doubt. The man hesitated, studying Robert, weighing his sincerity. Behind them, the group shifted, some nodding cautiously, others waiting for the leader's approval. "Fine," the older man finally said, his voice softening slightly. "You can join us today, but you'll need to earn your keep." Relief washed over Robert. "Thank you. I won't let you down." The girl grinned, brushing dirt off her hands. "You can help me read later." "Absolutely," he replied, a warmth growing in his chest. They were stepping into something together. As the group began to chat and share, Robert found himself sitting cross-legged on the grass, absorbing their stories. There were tales of struggle, resilience, and moments of joy that mixed with their hardships. He listened more than he spoke, recognizing that each voice mattered and that every narrative had value. Minutes turned into hours, laughter and serious conversations intertwining. He learned about their daily lives, dreams deferred due to circumstances beyond their control. It struck him how brave they all were, wearing their struggles like badges, each dealing with their own battles. Then, as shadows lengthened and the sun dipped lower in the sky, a woman approached. Her face was lined with age, yet her eyes sparkled with a youthful spirit. "I saw you talking to the kids. You must have a good heart," she said, her tone a mix of kindness and wariness. "But this isn't easy. You'll have to be all in if you want to help." "I am," Robert replied earnestly. "I want to be part of this community." She nodded, a knowing look passing between them. "Then you need to come back and bring that energy. The kids need role models who don't just show up for a day, but who stay around for the long haul." He agreed, his heart racing at the prospect. Could he commit to this? What would it entail? Just then, the young girl pulled him back from his thoughts. You can be my adventure buddy. Adventure buddy? He echoed. She nodded vigorously. We can create our own stories. Together. As Robert looked at her hopeful face, he knew this was what he had been searching for all along. Not just a way to give back, but a connection that bound them together. But as the sun slipped below the horizon and the group began to disperse, Robert felt a pulse of fear rush through him. This friendship might lead to something deeper, something that could hurt if he failed to protect it. What if they depended on him more than he could give? He shook his head, trying to silence the doubt. Tomorrow, I'll be back, he promised. As he headed home, anticipation fluttered in his chest. He was bound to these people now, and every step was more important than the last. Little did he know that his connection with this girl would challenge everything he thought he knew about helping others. When he discovered the truth behind her story, it would shake his world in ways he couldn't imagine. The next day dawned bright and warm, the sun pouring golden light over the neighborhood. Robert felt the excitement bubbling in his stomach as he made his way back to the park. He had barely slept, thinking about the children, especially the young girl who had called him her adventure buddy. This was more than a chance to help, this was an opportunity to connect. As he approached, he saw her waiting with a few of the other kids, bouncing on her feet, enthusiasm radiating from her. You came back. She squealed, her voice filled with pure joy. Of course. Robert replied, smiling. What's on the agenda for today? Before she could answer, the older man who had initially tested Robert's sincerity stepped forward, his brow furrowed but less threatening than the day before. We could use your help on a small project. The kids want to clean up the park area and paint some usable furniture. Takes a village, right? Absolutely. Robert said, feeling a sense of belonging as he rolled up his sleeves. They spread out, gathering trash and working as a team. It was hard labor, but laughter echoed around them, a blend of voices celebrating simple achievements. As they worked, Robert observed their interactions. The kids were playful but focused, laughing as they encouraged one another. He felt a warmth blossom in his heart, realizing how vital this time was, not only for them but for him too. After a few hours, the girl tugged at his sleeve. Can we take a break? I want to show you something. Curiosity sparked as she led him away from the others. They crossed to a quieter part of the park, where a small, dilapidated treehouse stood, partially hidden beneath a canopy of leaves. It was worn, perhaps even dangerous, but her eyes twinkled with reverence. Wow, Robert said, kneeling down to inspect it. This is amazing. Did you build this? No, but I wish I could fix it. I used to come here a lot with my brother. It was our secret place. Her voice softened, a hint of nostalgia creeping in. Do you want to fix it? He asked, feeling a surge of inspiration. Her face lit up. Really? Can we? Of course, he affirmed, excitement racing through him. Let us gather some supplies and start small. We can make it a great adventure. Yet, as they plotted their restoration plan, Robert sensed a shift in the girl's mood. Her smile faded slightly, an unspoken heaviness casting a shadow over her excitement. Hey, is everything okay? He asked gently, searching her eyes for the truth. She hesitated, then looked away, her voice a whisper. It's just my brother isn't around anymore. The air thickened with her sorrow, piercing through the joyful ambience they had created. Robert's heart sank as he realized what lay beneath her unyielding spirit. Before he could respond, she continued, I want to make this treehouse special for him, so he can come back. I want to remember him like we used to. That statement hit Robert like a truck. Suddenly, it was clear, their adventures weren't just about fun, they were about healing, about connection beyond the physical world. As the realization sank in, he felt a wave of responsibility wash over him. He could be the one to help her honor her brother, to create a space filled with warmth and love. We'll make it special together, he promised, feeling the weight of the commitment deepen. Just as determination settled in, a chorus of laughter erupted from the direction of the others, breaking the moment's solemnity. Robert knew there would be challenges ahead, but he also felt a new sense of clarity. He didn't just want to help, he wanted to be there for her. Truly, little did he know, discovering the path to help her would lead to transformations he had never expected. Robert felt a swell of determination as they began gathering materials, but the weight of the girl's revelation lingered in his mind. "What's her name?" he suddenly asked, turning to her. "It's Lily," she replied, her voice barely audible, as if she worried the name might slip from the world if she spoke it too loudly. "Lily," he repeated softly, testing the name on his tongue. "That's beautiful." She beamed faintly, the name brightening her expression momentarily before that shadow returned to her eyes. Robert watched as she fiddled with the fraying hem of her shirt, the fabric worn from countless adventures. "Do you remember what it was like to play here with him?" he asked, slipping into their shared history. Her face blossomed with a smile sweet and painful. "We would pretend it was a pirate ship. He was always the captain, and I was his loyal first mate." Robert could picture it vividly. "And what was your mission?" "To find treasure, of course." She laughed, and for a moment, the innocence of childhood peeked through her sadness. "But we always ended up just looking for acorns and making crowns out of leaves." "Pirate crowns? Sounds like the best kind," Robert said, chuckling lightly. "Yeah. But I guess I lost my crown when he left," she whispered, her excitement dimming. The air hung heavy, but Robert felt a fire ignite within him. "What if we could find a new kind of treasure?" he suggested, his heart racing with the idea. "Something to honor all those adventures you had together." Lily's curiosity sparkled again, and he could see the wheels turning in her mind. "Like what?" "Like a treasure chest filled with memories," Robert proposed eagerly. "We could fill it with things that remind you of those times. You can even paint it to match the treehouse." "Can we really?" she asked, hope threading through her words. "Absolutely. We'll find your treasure and honor every moment. Plus, imagine the look on the other kids' faces when they see the treehouse. It'll be a real pirate ship." With a renewed sense of purpose, they joined the rest of the group, and Robert couldn't help but smile at the sight of his newfound friends, each child excitedly planning their contribution for the renovation. As the afternoon wore on, they worked tirelessly, laughter ringing out against the backdrop of chirping birds and rustling leaves. Robert painted alongside Lily, carefully guiding the brush in whimsical strokes as she transformed the dull wood into a vibrant blue, her eyes shining with passion. But once the tasks quieted, Robert could see that Lily's thoughts sometimes drifted again, the smiles fleeting. He wanted to dive deeper, to pull her out of the shadows, but the timing felt delicate. He needed to be careful. This would be her journey, one he simply wished to support. "Hey, Lily," he called out during a break, noticing a small makeshift box she was forming from scrap wood. "What were you working on over there?" "I thought I could make a treasure chest," she said, tapping her fingers against the wood. "Perfect. We'll use it to store all our memories, but tell me, what does it need to make it special?" She pondered, her head tilted, eyes narrowing. "It needs stickers, maybe some glitter." He loved stars. "I think we need stars on it." Robert nodded, jotting down the ideas in his mind, a new plan forming. This was more than just a project, it was her pathway to remembrance and healing, a chance for both of them to find treasure in the threads of loss woven through their lives. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the world in hues of gold and orange, Robert turned to apply a fresh coat of paint while Lily painted the box with joy. "Hey," he said casually, feeling the weight of the moment, "can I ask you something? When you think of your brother, what's the first memory that comes to mind?" For a moment, silence hung, but then she opened up, to Robert's surprise. "He once helped me rescue a kitten stuck in a tree," she said, her face brightening. "He climbed the whole way up." "Maybe we should rescue the treehouse like he rescued the kitten," Robert suggested gently, excitement building again. Let us make it our mission, Lily. But before she could respond, a commotion erupted nearby, disrupting the serene moment. A group of older kids had arrived, undoubtedly wanting to join or take over the fun. Robert felt his heart rate quicken, realizing the delicate balance they had just started to build was at risk. Would this change everything? Hey, what do you think is going to happen next? He asked Lily, as they both turned towards the noise. She looked up, eyes full of uncertainty. I don't know, she whispered, her grip on the paintbrush loosening. But Robert was determined to keep the adventure alive, for both of them. The treehouse and their memories depended on it. What were these new kids going to bring to their mission? Lily's brows furrowed as the noise intensified, the laughter of the older kids ringing through the air like an unwelcome storm. Robert felt a tightness in his chest. He had envisioned a day filled with joy, creating a safe space for Lily to heal. But now, reality crashed in, looming like the dark clouds overhead. The newcomers tumbled into the clearing, shoving each other, their laughter sharp and chaotic. Robert's heart sank a little more with each step they took toward the treehouse. He exchanged a glance with Lily, her eyes danced between hope and dread. Look at that old pile of junk. One of the older boys shouted, pointing at the half-constructed treehouse, his tone dripping with mockery. What are you little kids doing? Playing dress up? Robert clenched his fists, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. He wanted to protect their little kingdom, to shield Lily from the weight of their words. He couldn't let them ruin this moment, the chance to capture Lily's brother's spirit through their work. Hey! We're building a pirate ship, not junk. Robert called, forcing as much confidence into his voice as he could muster. He stepped forward, trying to appear unfazed. We're looking for treasure. Want to help? The older kids exchanged glances, confusion flickering on their faces. Robert sensed hesitation, they weren't used to that kind of challenge. But then the mocking laughter erupted again, and one girl in particular stepped out, hands on her hips, her eyes sharp. Help? Seriously? You guys? She feigned disbelief, tossing her hair back with arrogance. You're basically just painting a tree. Come on, let us do something fun. Lily shrank a little next to Robert, and he could feel her heart beating faster. He knew he had to do something more than just answer back. If he backed down now, it might break the fragile oasis they had created. Lily, he said softly, turning to her. What if we invite them in? Show them what we're doing. She nodded slowly, uncertainty still etched on her face, but there was a flicker of excitement there too. This was a big step, but it could also be a chance to show the older kids that this was more than just a project, it was a part of Lily's heart. Robert glanced back at the group. If you're interested in pirate treasure, we could use some extra hands. We're gathering memories and filling a treasure chest. Are you in? The older kids paused, thrown off by their unexpected invitation. Some looked intrigued, while others maintained their skeptical expressions. What kind of memories? The girl asked, her tone slightly softer now. Well, Robert said, his voice steady, we've got paint and a treasure chest for special memories. You could even add something. Every pirate ship needs a crew. Lily stepped forward, emboldened by his words, her creative spark igniting. And stars. You could help us decorate. She beamed, all hesitance falling away as she waved her arms, inviting them in with genuine excitement. For a moment, the two groups stood at a crossroads, but the idea of creativity started to weave a connection between them. The skeptical expression slowly melted into intrigue. The girl narrowed her eyes, assessing the offer carefully. Okay, we'll give it a shot. But it better be as cool as you say. We'll see if your treasure can impress us. With that, an unspoken agreement hung in the air. As the older kids approached, Robert could see a shift. Lily's confidence glowed brighter, illuminating the invisible threads of connection binding them all together, even for just a moment in the unfolding chaos of childhood. But as they began to share laughter and paint, Robert felt a lingering tension, a fleeting thought that gnawed at him. Did the magic of this day hinge on the acceptance of these new kids? What was truly at stake as they formalized their team like pirate crewmates? Hey, he remembered to ask Lily, glancing at the new faces mixing in. Are you sure you're okay sharing this moment with them? It's special and I want you to feel that. She looked around, the sparkle in her eyes revealing her growing courage. I think so, Robert. Maybe, just maybe, they need reason to feel special too. But what would that mean for their mission? What treasures would arise from this unexpected alliance? As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the world in dusky shades, Robert couldn't shake the feeling that the real adventure was just beginning. Would this pirate crew find more than just paint and memories? Would they uncover something deeper, something that could change them all forever? Robert's heart raced as he watched the new kids mingle with Lily and their group. Laughter filled the air, mixing with the sweet smell of fresh paint, creating an atmosphere brimming with hope. But beneath that hope, he felt a tight knot in his stomach. He couldn't shake the fear that this fragile alliance might suddenly unravel. Just then, the girl who had first mocked them, Tara, turned and called out, "Okay, what's our treasure then? You can't just paint a tree and call it a pirate ship." Her challenge cut through the fun, shifting the mood slightly. Lily, with her spark of determination, stepped forward. "It's not just about the paint. It's about remembering adventures and what we care about." Her voice rang with a blend of ferocity and sincerity. Robert felt a swell of pride. She was taking ownership of their mission, making it truly hers. "Yeah." Robert jumped in, "This is a ship of memories. We're building a treasure chest for the things that matter, to remind us of who we are." He scanned the faces before him, some still skeptical, but a flicker of curiosity danced in their eyes. "How about we all share a memory, something that makes you smile?" The hesitation was palpable, but one of the older boys stepped forward. "Fine, I'll go first. My grandpa used to take me fishing. We'd sit by the lake for hours just talking." A warmth spread through the group. Memories had a way of binding souls together. The others started to share personal stories. Lily's eyes lit up as her fellow kids recounted clumsy attempts at stunts on their bikes, laughter spilling over from their memories. They began to exchange ideas about what to include in their treasure chest. Tara hesitated but then mentioned a kinder moment, recalling a day when she helped her little brother tie his shoelaces. It was a slice of vulnerability that surprised everyone. Robert leaned close to Lily, whispering, "Look, they're starting to warm up. This is working." Lily smiled back, her heart full of hope as her new crew shared pieces of themselves. "We can paint those memories on the treasure chest," she exclaimed, renewed by the rhythmic heartbeat of connection forming seamlessly around them. The chatter grew into a chorus of excitement, everyone seized with the prospect of this collaborative creation. Hands began reaching for paintbrushes, colors flying, the kids' laughter echoing through the park. As the sun set, casting long shadows, Robert felt the weight of his fears subside. What began as a simple project had blossomed into a collaboration that would create lasting bonds. Everyone was pouring their essence into the treasure chest, layering it with memories, dreams, and laughter, yet, Robert couldn't help but think of the weight of responsibility he was taking on. Could they maintain this connection? Should he be the one to lead this group? Flashes of doubt flickered in his mind as he watched Lily enthusiastically share her vision, her brother's memory beautifully woven into the fabric of their experience. A few hours later, under the canvas of a starlit sky, Robert gathered the crew around their completed treasure chest. It shimmered and gleamed, each stroke of paint reflecting the vibrance of their efforts. "Tonight," he began, taking a deep breath, "we're not just leaving behind a project. We've built something far more important: connections. We've shared our stories, our lives, and those create tides of change." He looked specifically at Lily, who held her breath in anticipation. "This is just the beginning. And together, we can do even more." Their eyes twinkled with curiosity and energy. Robert felt joy bubble within him, every laugh, every shared moment felt like a treasure unearthed. As they celebrated, Robert realized his fears had no power here. Together, they were creating something that transcended what he could have imagined. This was truly the adventure of a lifetime, one that would change all of them in ways yet to unfold. That he turned to Lily, who looked back at him, her eyes shining with tears of joy reflecting the starlight. It struck him, the real impact wouldn't just be the physical changes they made but the emotional interconnectedness blooming among them. They were woven together, navigating through the stormy seas of life hand in hand. "Let us keep building this community," he enthused. "Let us keep finding new ways to support one another. Are you in?" They erupted with shouts of yes. A solid, resounding wave that washed over Robert, casting away every ounce of doubt left within him, and in that moment, under the night sky crowned with stars, Robert knew he would carry this light forward for Lily, for the community and for the brother whose spirit guided every stroke of their shared adventure. This was just the beginning of their journey, one that would inspire countless others and transform lives far beyond anything they could foresee. And yet, he now understood change wasn't just a mission, it was a shared heartbeat that pulsed stronger with every connection made, every memory honored. "Together, we can find treasures beyond our wildest dreams," he declared, as joy surged through him, spinning brighter than the stars above. This was their moment, this was their story. And it was just the start now. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will take you on similar journeys. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us spread these important messages. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear about your favorite memories and stories too, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us keep these connections growing, together.